just conventional broadband. It wasn't just emailing and downloading material from websites. It was ubiquitous in the society, throughout the society. We had a tremendous opportunity, and that we had a need to sensibly deal with this opportunity and maximize it, and that it would take cooperation from the public-private sectors, and that we needed to understand the best practices from abroad and adapt them to our own history and our own needs and our own competitive situation. We were agreeing to this. This all went into the call to action statement. We agreed that the federal government had a role to play, an important role to play, in stimulating not just deployment of infrastructure, but also adoption and use. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but just step back and think about it. The government having a role in stimulating people to use the technology. Now there was a lot of resistance to that at first. What business is it of the government to tell people what they ought to be using? But it is important because there are what's called externalities that make the benefits of that broadband infrastructure so much beyond what individuals may realize. Now, I won't go into that at any length. It's in many of our reports. But we agreed to that. Public, private, those entities that you heard about before were all agreeing to this. We agreed also that we need open access to this infrastructure to the maximum extent possible, and at the same time that we needed to respect the need to manage networks in such a way as to be able to handle spam and surges and all sorts of things like that. That's the great net neutrality debate that you probably all have heard about. And so we had a big event on Capitol Hill. We expected maybe 100, 120, 150, almost 300 people showed up. Why? Because it was so novel. Google and AT&T and Free Press and Verizon and all of those people who are usually killing each other, all agreeing on these things and on our podium talking about the need to work together to make these ends, to make this work for the country. Now, we realized that we had a lot of work to do to take those broad concepts and make them realities, and we committed ourselves at the call to action to continue to work on this stuff after that meeting, and we did. We formed 6 working groups, one to describe the opportunity and the risk if we didn't pursue it, one on goals, one on adoption and use, one on availability, deployment issues, supply side issues, one on metrics, and one on implementation. And great people from all across the country spent dozens, hundreds of hours working on these issues, many of them listening to each other for the very first time.